Hello, hello, darlings. Good evening, and welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Daniella Langford here, your personal sovereignty specialist at Redesign Your Life Forever. So, tonight is going to be a fascinating topic, and to be honest, it might trigger some of you out there in internet land, and I'm sorry, not sorry, only because I am here to trigger you only in the most loving of ways so that we can start to expose some of these nasty gooky things that we are carrying around, not only in our energy field, but in our physical bodies, and these things that are actually keeping us from living our most ascended life, being the best us that we can be. So tonight I wanted to share with you a huge cornerstone of what I am sharing out there with the world and with you is the nasty and toxic shoulds that are in our life, these things that we are told from infancy that we should be or should do, or how we should just go about our lives in general to achieve success, happiness, stability, security, all of these, love, affection, all of these things that, as children that we yearn and we crave and we need, but we are told that these things are in fact conditional, and these are the things, X, Y, and Z, the shoulds, that you have to do in order to receive these things from initially your parents, but then ultimately we start to carry these things on with us throughout the rest of our lives and start living our lives, or I should say continue to live our lives as adults, carrying these shoulds around with us, not realizing that they are actually what is standing in our way. So tonight I wanted to share with you how to identify these toxic shoulds in your life and share with you one or two steps that you can actually start taking right now to start slaying them. And this is going to be a big topic. It's probably going to cover a lot of weird things. It's probably going to cover a lot of auxiliary topics as well. And those, of course, will be things that we can create more Wisdom Wednesdays out of. But tonight I am sharing with you what these toxic shoulds are in your life, how you can actually identify what your shoulds are. Because your shoulds are probably going to be a little different than my shoulds. They may cross over, but there's a really good chance that your shoulds don't match exactly to anybody else's. That is what is so unique about all of our journeys, is that though the experiences may have archetypal similarities, the intricacies of what we go through are very unique to ourselves and our own perspective. So tonight, sharing with you how you can identify the shoulds in your life, and then of course a couple of ways that you can actually start right now to slay them. So again, just to reiterate, the shoulds are what I am calling the should trap, is this trap that we fall into as we grow older, into adulthood, I should say, not older as in any kind of older, because I know I've met some really people recently that were quite sensitive to the older thing, and it's very interesting, but that's because, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's because we've lost the value of the wisdom of our elders, but that's a whole nother topic. See? Whole nother topic. There's going to be a lot of that tonight. So the shoulds, the should trap, is this trap that we fall into as we grow into adulthood, I should say, of things that we were told as children that we should do or be to achieve success, financial stability, love, security, safety, a roof over our head, basically food in our mouths and clothes on our back. And as it turns out, when we get to adulthood and drop an emoji down, say hey, let me know if this resonates with you. As we get into adulthood, what we come to discover is that the expectations of what we would get or get to enjoy, a lifestyle, love, like physical types of things, or particular emotions that we expected to be able to enjoy, like love and affection and security and confidence and, all of these things. We get into adulthood and we look at what we should have gotten from following the things that we should have done, and yet what we should have gotten does not match up with reality that we are currently inhabiting. And so we start to ask ourselves, where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect between what I did, which was what I should have done, and what I'm actually experiencing in reality. Hey, Miss Angelique, good to see you, darling. So the disconnect comes when we get into adulthood and, you say, oh, you shouldn't do this, or you should be this way, or this, or that, or the other, and we carry those into adulthood thinking, because that's what we were told. And as kids, there's a great explanation. As kids, we come in and we have no ability to discern, in the sense that what we get told we take as gospel. And so if we get told enough times that, you act pretty stupid, guess what we're going to do in adulthood? Ask me how I know. These things are mostly, hopefully, done out of love and out of care and out of fear for our safety, or us, our parents not wanting us to be embarrassed or made fun of or bullied or this or that or the other, when in fact we are carrying those subliminal shoulds into our adult life, thinking that they're going to serve us. And as it turns out, when we look at the results and we look at what we should have gotten, there's a big disconnect. So how do you discover what these things are that are hidden in your subconscious back here? This is like, this. You'll see me start to do this with you guys. That's actually a symbol that my best friend and I started coming up with when it's something like super in the background, super subconscious. You're not even aware of what's going on back here. It's kind of like, the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing kind of thing. So this is what this is. So back here in your subconscious, what are these things that you're holding on to that are actually standing in your way? These can be anything. 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 I'm still finding shoulds. I probably will continue to find shoulds the more I go along. Because you will discover that, yes, you deep dive, and you will notice that if you've started doing any inner work, that, yeah, it's kind of like an archaeological dig. Where you go down one level, and you're like, ooh, there's some cool pottery shards and stuff and things. And you're like, oh, I wonder what's under here. Ooh, there's some buildings, and there's some like walls and stuff. And you go down, and you go down, and you go down, and you go down. And there's more and more and more and more and more and more and more to discover, to reintegrate, to release, to deal with, more or less. These are the shoulds. These are what I'm calling the shoulds. And the should trap is what we have fallen into, not realizing that these things, these shoulds, these programs, these paradigms, these beliefs are running in the background, making us more or less shoot ourselves in our own feet. Shoot yourself in the foot, basically, is what it's making us do. Because these are the things that are holding us back. These are the things that, like when we got told when we were kids that, oh, you act really stupid, that to our child's brain, that translated as, you are stupid. You make stupid decisions. You can't trust your decision-making capacity. How many of you carry that around with you? Yeah, it's going to get deep. It's going to get deep quick. Because what we don't realize is that these things that we got told over and over and over and over again relayed into our brain as children, because as children, we are very literal. In the sense that whatever we hear, we take in. Whatever we see, the energy we feel, we take that in. We suck it in like a sponge, and again, we take it as gospel. So, in that sense, for instance, using the same analogy, saying that, oh, you act really stupid, or you're too demonstrative. I got that a lot. You're too demonstrative. You're too much. You're not ladylike. You're too much. That reads into my head as a child that I'm not good enough. I'm not feminine. I'm not a girl. I don't know how to be a girl. I don't know how to behave myself. I don't know how to conduct myself. I don't know how to make positive decisions for myself. I don't, like all of these things get read into statements like that as children. And these are the things that we carry on through our lives, and they are the shoulds. So if you're recognizing any of these things, if you're recognizing the I'm not good enough, I'm not feminine enough, I'm not whatever enough. These are shoulds programmed into our subconscious by, again, hopefully lovingly loving parents and caregivers and, friends and teachers and pastors and, whoever, that were honestly in their own mind trying to protect us from whatever, from ridicule, from embarrassment, from whatever, right? Now, I want to make a quick distinction for you. And I only have a couple minutes here, and I could go on with this forever. But I want to make a quick distinction here, really quick, before I get into helping you identify how you can identify what those are for you. The quick distinction is that there are some shoulds in our life that kind of should be there, more or less. So, things that we got taught as children, some of those things can still serve us, okay? Not everything we got was a bag of junk, right? There are some things that we should do that probably are going to save our life. For instance, you should look both ways before crossing a street. I know that seems like a really simple, simplistic, kind of duh idea, but there have been people that I've known that, for the sake of devil's advocacy or whatever, or, they're very triggered or whatever, they love to bring up these instances of like that one where they say, oh, well, what about this should? We should look both ways, or you should wear your seatbelt, or you should, whatever. And I just want to, hit that on the head before we go any further, is to say that there are some shoulds that you may want to hold on to. Like, you should look both ways before crossing the street. Because there are going to be some things that were passed down that actually do still work, that do function, that do serve us. But what you're going to be able to find, and this is where I'm going to lead in, what you're going to be able to find is that you can body test these things. And if you're not familiar with body testing, it is an amazing thing that we all have the ability to do. And maybe I should make this a whole other Wisdom Wednesdays talking about body testing and how you can do that, going further into that. But there's, most people are familiar with muscle testing, which is a couple of different things, but usually it's, the ring, or trying to spread your fingers, or the arm thing, or a swaying back and forth. And of course, it's not that exaggerated usually. Body testing. Yes or no body testing. And you can do this with shoulds. You can do this in your own life. So basically, any time that your brain running, your brain is running and it's telling you should do something. Okay? And I'm going to use this really classic, super misogynistic example, but it's one that everybody can kind of go, oh, okay, I get it. I should have dinner on the table before my spouse gets home, or they will be angry, or they will be upset, or they will whatever. Even if it just stops at, I should have dinner on the table by a certain time. Filling in the rest of that sentence is, or it will upset someone, or they will shame me, or I will have some sort of negative repercussion because of it if I don't put the dinner on the table. This is a should. This is a should that we all kind of, the classic should. And it has to do with wanting to please our parents, or please our spouses, or significant others, even our friends in some cases. There's people pleasing, and then there's doing it out of nurturing and out of love, right? A mother would want to, out of love and nurturing, put food on the table for her children and her spouse or whomever, significant other or not, children, to nourish them. That's one thing, where it's like, oh, I should start getting dinner ready because the kids will be home soon and I want them to have a nice warm meal. That is an entirely different thing. And you can feel the energetic difference. So if you want to test that in your body right now, you can do yes or no body testing. Something that's really simple. And many of you may be already familiar with this, so I'm just going to go over it really briefly. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on the time because I've got client session coming up and I don't want to be late, because I can really go on about this forever, because this is really a cornerstone of what I teach and what I help people with every day. So it's huge for me, and I love the chance to get to talk about it. I love the chance to talk anyway. So, so the body testing, the yes or no body testing. I almost lost it there. You almost witnessed me losing it right there. Totally. But anyway, yes or no body testing. In that, when you say to your body, yes, 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 you can feel it. You can feel how that feels. I usually feel it in my chest. Most people do. Some people feel it elsewhere. But try that out. Like, yes, I am so going to eat this brownie right now. It's going to be so good. Yes. Yes. I know I'm over-exaggerating, but not really, because that's kind of how I am. How does that feel for you? Where do you feel it? How does that feel? It feels kind of light and kind of bubbly and like, ooh, right? That's a yes in your body. But your body, I know many of you may not believe this, but your body is smarter than you are. By you, I mean the conscious mind, not the soul. Okay? The body is smarter than you are. The body is smarter than your ego. Let's say that. And if you want the proof, check out Deepak's book that I shared with you last week, Quantum Healing, because I believe in the chapter or two just before the one that I shared with you, he goes all into about the intelligence of the body. Every cell is conscious. Not necessarily in the way that we are conscious, but it has a consciousness. It has an awareness. So when you tell yourself yes, it's a good feeling. You're like, right? That's a yes answer. And you can also equally test it by trying no. No. Tell yourself no. No, you can't have that cookie. No, you shouldn't wear that dress. No, you don't look good in that. Feels pretty shitty, doesn't it? Ew. I kind of feel it in my stomach. It kind of gets like a kind of pity feeling, kind of like you're covered in sludge or tar or something nasty, right? I don't like that feeling at all, do you? So when you are looking for shoulds, okay, when you go should hunting, just go throughout your day and start to listen to what your mind starts running. Okay, the thoughts that your mind starts running. So if you're at work and you're like, I should, I need to go home because I should have this ready by then, or I should do this, or I should do that, or I should do the other. The second you start to hear that particular terminology, or I need to, or I have to, start asking your body, do I really? Is this a should? Is this something that's actually serving me, nurturing me, sharing with others, nurturing them? Is it actually coming from a place of there, or is it coming out of a place of fear? Which is a whole other topic again. Where is it coming from? And if you get a nasty response in your body, guess what? It's a should. Or at least, I should say, the way that you are perceiving the action, say making dinner, okay, we'll go back to that example. The way you are perceiving that is a should. Because you can easily switch, I should put dinner on the table for my spouse or significant other or whomever, because otherwise, negative response. Instead, if you still have to make dinner, which, okay, we've all got to eat. If you still have to make dinner, and you're finding that the reason and the energy behind you having to make dinner, in this example, is negative, like you're feeling it in your body as a no, but you still have to make dinner, you still have to eat, then you can begin to change your perception. Begin to change the wording that you are using. And that is one huge way of actually annihilating the shoulds. Because what happens is should, in a lot of ways, is an energetic signature. Yes, it may have to do with things that you should or shouldn't do, about how you believe about yourself and what you are and what you're capable of doing. But equally, and possibly even more often, is that it has to do with the energetic signature that is attached to that action. The perceived energetic signature. So if you're saying, I have to put dinner on the table for significant other, because X, Y, and Z negative reaction. Change it. Stop yourself in your tracks. What I like to do is I actually like to snap my fingers. Oddly enough, something simple like that, some kind of auditory cue, will snap your brain out of it. You can stop it. And it's kind of like a concussive sound that's not actually concussive. But it's a sharp sound that is not super disruptive to anybody else. You can kind of just do it with yourself, you know, without attracting a lot of attention. And if anybody asks, be like, shoot, I stubbed my toe. Whatever, right? So you can snap. And that brings that attention away from that nagging, that reasoning behind like, I should because X, Y, and Z negative reaction. And go, you know what? I'm going to change how I feel about this. You know what? I'm going to make dinner because I want to. I'm going to make dinner because it is a pleasure for me to cook, or it is a pleasure for me to serve my significant other or my children. It pleases me to know that I am capable of nurturing them. See how different that feels? Do you feel that in your chest too? See how much different that feels than this? So that's where we're going with this, okay? There are shoulds in our lives. There are things that are running in the background that, again, our beliefs or our shoulds or paradigms that we believe about ourselves and the world that have come from when we were wee little ones that may or may not actually be true at all about ourselves in our current situation. If you are discovering those, the best way to tackle it, again, is to flip it. So, for instance, I'm a full-figure girl. Always have been, probably always will be. A lot of time in my life, out of love, how do I put this delicately? My mom would go, you'd be so beautiful if only you lost 20 pounds. Right? To a kid, I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'll never make it, all of this is going off, right? So, coupled with, I'm too demonstrative, and I act stupid and do all of these things that our parents nonchalantly tell us that they think that they're protecting us or stopping from doing a behavior that will embarrass us later or whatever. This gets lodged back here as a should in the subconscious mind. AKA, I should never wear dresses because I won't fit in them. I should never try to be feminine because I'm too demonstrative. I'm never going to be feminine. Right? I could go on. The point being is that when you notice one of these things that is a belief about yourself or the world that is holding you down, because ultimately, 90% of those will go back to, I'm not good enough. That is the big, nasty, hairy, gremlin-y should, is that I'm not good enough. I should do this because I'm not good enough. I'm going to let that one sink in for a second, because that could be pretty deep. So when you find one of these, it is now an opportunity for you to flip the script. And again, the snapping thing can help. But what I find is that if it says to you that, say for instance, my kids don't listen to me. No one wants to listen to me. You can change that around and say, you know what? That's not true. There are plenty of people that value my opinion. I value my own opinion. So, call out, think for a second. Just take a moment and think and go, oh yeah, you know what? My best friend, she always comes to me for advice. She really values my opinion. My opinion, my thoughts are valuable. My feelings are important. Whatever it is, change it around. And you ask me, okay, Daniella, that's great, but how does that actually kill the should? and how it's affecting my life? And that is a great question. How it works is exactly how you got programmed with all of these shoulds in the first place. Okay? It is one of the most powerful things that we know known to psychological man. It is the power of repetition. Now don't let me lose you because you're like, oh, that's super simple. Think about it. When you were a kid and you're running around in your underwear because you think you're Mowgli from the Jungle Book, how many times did it take for your parents to shut you down, out of love, hopefully, but shut you down for you to actually shut down? How much did it take? How much effort? How many times did they have to tell you? I don't know if you're anything like me, but if you're anything like me, I was that kid in my family where it's like, you are the most independent, hard-headed child we have ever dealt with. And I was like, yeah, I am. As I got older, of course, you get more beat down and more beat down and more worn out and more worn out and more worn out until those shoulds become your operating system. But how much effort did that actually take? Okay? That is the power of repetition. Eventually, it will wear anything down. It is water to the rock. It will wear anything down. So, you can actually use that same idea to kill your shoulds that were put there like that in the first place. I know it seems really simple. It's not necessarily easy, and that's what people like me exist for, okay? But it's simple. It's doable, okay? Turn it around, and anytime you have a feeling or a thought that is negatively sitting in your body, like we talked about, change it. Change it, change the words until it resonates differently. Because that is where your power is, my friends. Your power is an ability to stop your own self in your tracks. Stop the monkey mind, stop the hamster wheel, just stop it. Just take it out of you for a second. Take yourself out of that for just a second and go, no. Pretend like you're, discipline a dog if you have to. Whatever visualization you have to make, it's fine. Whatever. But stop yourself and go, hey, I'm not going to treat myself this way anymore. I'm going to change this around and flip it. If you do that, the majority of the times that you can catch yourself, you will, without a doubt. It is scientifically proven. It's called neuroplasticity. Look it up if you don't believe me. I totally encourage you to do it because I love this kind of stuff. Again, it's another topic for another time I could go on forever about. You have the power to change your thoughts, and more importantly, you have the power to put the emotion, the energetic fury of your feelings behind that thought. So, if you are telling yourself that you're not beautiful, that you're not whatever body shape that somebody has told you that you should be, change it around. If somebody's told you that you make, if you got told a lot that you made poor decisions or you act stupid or you're too loud or this or that or whatever, and that is playing havoc in your life, stop yourself. Anytime you feel that program, anytime you hear that program of should running in the background, stop yourself and say, no thank you. I'm not going to continue this programming anymore. Not happening. And flip it. Just flip it. Say whatever it is backwards. Not exactly backwards. Just say, like for me, oh, I'll never be thin. Huge one. Okay? No. You know what? I am happy. I am healthy. And I can build my body to be as strong as I want it to be. Done. Step 1. The more you do that, the more you reinforce that neural pathway, that new thought that you're creating, the more your brain will actually start to travel down that neural pathway and forget about this other road over here that's connected to the should. What does that do? That unleashes a whole new you on the world. Because you are not being held back by the things that you thought you were. You are a celestial, divine, energetic being inhabiting a physical body that is meant for us to work together in tandem. This is a vehicle that loves us. We just treat it like shit because that's what we got taught to do because nobody knew any different. Now we know. Now is the time to actually change how we nurture ourselves, how we parent ourselves, and that starts by identifying the shoulds that are holding you back, that are holding you hostage, these things that we got told that we should do or be, or shouldn't do or shouldn't be, to achieve success, happiness, stability, love, whatever. When we can start to identify what those are, and then start to rewrite them, that is where our power is. And that is how you do it. But to be honest, if you're anything like me, too, you're probably that one weird person in your family. That's me. It's okay, at some point you learn to own up to it, right? Hopefully. If you're that one weird person in your family, I understand how hard it is for you to do this work, to share these epiphanies, to, how should I say? I understand how fearful you are of becoming a different person, having to be surrounded by everyone else who's asleep. I get it. It's not cute. But it's doable. And that is why I sit here every Wednesday and whenever else I want, and why I built this group, why I offer myself in service to you. Because these things like accountability, companionship, a sounding board, someone who understands, who's not going to judge, but in fact can listen and then share the tools that can get you out of the place that you're in. Now, granted, people like me, we can't do it for you. People may say, magic silver bullet pill, that, oh yeah, we can do it for you, we can change your life. No, honey. You can change your life. I am a facilitator. I just help you see what you're really capable of. I give the support, the guidance, the tools to help you unlock the real you that's been hiding behind all of this other junk, for lack of a better word. So if that is something that you're craving, I want you to pop over to redesignyourlifeforever.com and hop onto that contacts page and get yourself in my calendar so that you and I can talk about what these shoulds are. So you and I can talk about how you can rise above the shoulds. And you ask, like, why, if you just taught me how to body test all my shoulds, why do I need you? And that's a great question too. The answer to that is something that may set some people off, but it's the truth, is that somebody outside of you can see you better for who you are than you. Sometimes. When we're in this place where we're so overwhelmed that we literally cannot see the trees for the forest, that all we look around and see is green, and you just, like we're just blitzed out because we're so stressed out, we're so overwhelmed, all of these things have piled up, that we can't even, hey Miss April, good to see you, lovely. She says, I've been working on all of this and it started to come to be. Thank you for the support and knowledge. Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm so glad to hear that it's actually working for you too. That's what I'm here to do, is to bring this knowledge to you, to bring the support, to bring the guidance, to bring the tools. Because when we can't see the trees for the forest, we can't tell what these shoulds are. So that's where somebody like me comes in, where I can sit and I open space for you and I listen to you and say, tell me your story. Because then after listening to you, I can tell you exactly what your shoulds are. Because guess what? We probably all have a lot of the same kind of shoulds. I can tell you what those shoulds are. And then we go, okay, so what do we do about them? And then we sit down and have a discussion about the tools open and available to you to start to take care of those things with as much or as little one-on-one support as you want. Because if you're anything like me, again, being that black sheep in the family means that you're not getting that support. They may love you, they may try and be there for you as much as they can, but bless their hearts, they are asleep. And we are waking up. And it's like waking up in a room full of zombies. And you're like, oh fuck. Right? At least it was a little bit for me. The support, I cannot stress enough. And if it's not me, that's fine. But there's going to be somebody out there for you that can give you that support as you begin to learn and grow. Because that support is so ridiculously crucial. I cannot stress that enough. I mean, science, medicine, all of these things have done innumerable studies about the power of support and about the power of, they say, oh, why do weight loss plans not work? Well, because, you don't have a support team and all of these things. Well, why does rehab not work? Because you don't have a support team. And there's a reoccurring theme here, and that is find the support where you can. And if that's me, I would be ecstatic to serve you, because that is what I've put myself in a position to do. So before I talk your heads off, like I am wont to do, I wanted to share with you a little bit more, about these shoulds, where they come from, how you can identify them through your own body, because your body knows what's up. Your body knows if something's not really sitting with you, if it's not resonating, if it's not good for you, if it's toxic for you. Again, it will help you identify the toxic shoulds versus the shoulds that kind of still serve you, like looking both ways across before you cross the street, right? Your body will tell you. And a lot of times, really quick, people say, hey, well, my body doesn't talk to me, or my body doesn't listen to me, or this or that or the other. Think about your body being that little kid. How much do you shut it down? How much do you tell it to shut up? How much do you tell it that its opinion doesn't matter? Or how much do you feel a feeling and then you shove it? Of course it's not going to talk. It thinks that you think that it's stupid. I mean, people think their bodies aren't that sentient. They're super sentient. So the more you start to respect your body's opinion, I mean, and this can be anything from like having to go pee and not going pee, or being thirsty and not drinking water. I mean, any kind of thing where you ignore the signals of your body. These are small ways that you can actually start to repair and start to rebuild that conversation, so that you can immediately in the moment say, hey, body, is this good for me? Yes or no? And it'll give you a feeling one way or the other. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing tool. We just have to relearn how to use it. Again, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother Wisdom Wednesdays, but I know it's possible. So if you want to start repairing that conversation, that relationship with your body, there are ways to do it, so that way you can in the moment go, hey, is this good for me or not? And get the instant reaction that you need to know, and then move on, and then rewrite the script if you gotta, because that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here for Wisdom Wednesdays. Thank you all that watched me live. Thank you everybody that commented. If you have any more comments, drop them below. If you have anything that you want to ask me about, do a Wisdom Wednesday about, or if you want to get on my calendar and talk to me personally, please let me know. You can message me personally on Facebook Messenger, or if you can go on to redesignyourlifeforever.com onto the contacts page, and you can get to me there. All right, my lovelies, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. This is Daniella of Redesign Your Life Forever. Thank you. Mwah. I love you all. Love you. Mwah.